Hello again everybody, back with another video. I did this presentation some time ago, but I didn't get round to doing the narration. But this one's called the Beck Air Flight 2100X, and it's from the 27th of December 2019. So you can already see there's a 7 on the cover for the jet engine here, and we've got flight 21 for 37s for 777. So this plane allegedly crashed just after takeoff and crashed into some houses about a quarter of a runway's length past the end of the runway, and these houses were on the perimeter of the airfield. So let's take a look at some of the code and some of the anomalies with the photographs. Okay, so this was the flight before it was repainted back in May 2018. So sorry, the plane. We'll look at the plane's number later when we look at the code. And this is it in its livery that it allegedly crashed in. Okay, so you can see these here, these wings. You can see the slats and the flaps are all in their home position, all retracted. Okay, so let's move on. And this was the report here that was in the Sun, and this wasn't correct. It had got the plane going up here, coming round here and crashing here. So I was looking at the Google Earth photos around here, couldn't find the crash site, and the BBC showed this one, but the BBC showed the crash site here. And when you look at these houses, you can recognise where it is. So basically it took off on this runway and it crashed here. So that there probably is about a fifth of the runway. So it's only just made the end of the runway and it's dropped down and crashed into these houses here. So here we go. This was the crash site the Sun was reporting, and this is the crash site the BBC, and we'll see this is where it is. So it came on there here, took off and went down and crashed here. And a lot of the stories, as you'll see, is there was ice on the wings. So whether or not there's more de-icing or more money to be spent on that, who knows. But I don't think this is a real plane crash. I think it's fake, and I think they created the crash scene for whatever agenda they have. Okay, so this is flight radar, and this is showing you the track. So it took off on this runway and then lost altitude and crashed here. Notice it's in this direction. Okay, so here we go. It went up, came back down again. So no deviation other than to move this way and crash into these houses. So this is the crash site looking towards the airport. So the plane has allegedly climbed up here, crashed back down, fifth of a runway length after the runway, and smashed into these houses. Note the plane was going in this direction, and this is the tail, and the front is here. So it's actually managed to turn 180 degrees, and we'll have a look at that later too. So here we go. This is the building that the nose crashed into here, and the tail sections here. So we can see this building there, this garage or whatever it is there next to it. This building that's crumbled will crash down where the front, and this, according to flight radar, is the direction of the plane. So it's coming, slid in from this, and there's a road here and there's a ditch, as we'll see in the photographs. So what I've done is I've created a scale copy of the aeroplane. Now this is the Fokker 100, and I've just created an image by drawing around it. And I've kept, as we can see, the height here is 596 feet. So what I've done here is I've taken, this is 597, and I've shown the direction of the plane and the direction of the debris. So we've got the nose that's crashed into this building. Note there's a fence here. This fence, that would have to, this plane would have to go in here, if it was in this direction. The front would have to stop and the back would have to swing round. But how did this skid through this fence. So this fence here has to be taken out for this to be here. And you can see the tail section and this section here, and the nose and the rest of the front part of the fuselage are all mashed up here. Okay, so this is the same viewing altitude. So this is a scale, exact scale of the aeroplane. So you can see it's pretty accurate, it fits in there. So I believe for this crash to have happened, this plane would have to be skidding sideways and it would have to come in. It's embedded in this wall behind this fence. It would have to crash through that fence. So why on earth is that fence still there? That makes no sense to me. So this is just showing you the sideways skid coming in, hitting this building, and the rest of the plane ending up there. So I'll just say, why was that fence untouched? It makes no sense. So there's the fence, and another angle, this plane's come sliding in. It's jumped over it and landed here. How has it managed that? So you can see here, they'll probably say to aid the rescue, they've actually removed the fence panels. That this plane has magically passed straight through without knocking them over or jumped over. But the nature of this debris suggests this has slid in. But again, these are upright and the fence panels were in place. And they definitely did remove them. So there's another shot with the fence panels removed. And there is some code there, and we'll look at that in a minute. So we are expected to believe that that plane slid sideways into the building and the wings and tail section swung round into the gap between the houses. That is what they're telling us. Here's the main part, and this plane has just been obviously struggling for lift, trying to get up, and its slats and its flaps are all retracted. Now in a quarter of a runway after the length, did the pilot have time to retract these, and wouldn't he have lost more lift? Why are they still all in? Because I took off from Manchester a few weeks ago, Manchester Airport in the UK, and the aeroplane was way past the airfield before it retracted the slats and the flaps, because I was sat in front and I could look back, and I made an effort to look back when they actually retracted them. It was a good way outside the airport, maybe 3-4 runway lengths before they even started to retract those. So I don't know why that is. Maybe they're going to make that the reason that they forgot to do it. They have done that before. Okay, so there's a ditch between the houses. Can't see any evidence of a fence. This plane's allegedly slid through there, and for some reason they've been throwing all the debris in this ditch. Here's another photograph showing the debris in the ditch. Now, this is the enclosed airfield. There's a roadway here. It would be quite easy if you got all this sealed off to create a crash scene with a crane and create that damage as shown. So let's have a look at the code. So as we saw, it was flight 2100, 37s for 777. It crashed on the 27th of December, 27s for 777. Also, it's the 27th of the 12th, so that's 39. Turn this round 180 degrees, and we got 3 6s for 666. And 12 as well can be 21 for 777. 93 passengers. So there's again our 3 6s for 666. And initial reports from Almaty's Akimat City Council said 14 people have been killed. So there's 14 for 27s for 77. And 66 were critically injured. So there's our 66. It was later corrected to 12. So there's our 12 for 21. Reverse it for 777 37s. So this is the aircraft, this is the registration, and we add those up, we get 25 for a 7. And the airport's location, we've got 77 and a 4 and 17 for 21. So we've got 77 and we've got 777. And the ICAO flight number is Beck 2100. Add those up and we get 21 4777. And survivors 86 adds up to 14, of course, for 2 7s for 77. And this is from Flight Radar, and the serial number is 11496. And guess what that adds up to, guys? 21 for 3 7s for 777. So this is the registration number of the plane. Up. So we've got 21 plus 16 for 37 for 3 7s for 777. We've got F1, 6 plus 1 for a 7. And we've got a 7 here on the end. So we've got 777, 7 and 7. Very, very 7 coded. Okay, so this is one of the survivors stroke witnesses who has done a few interviews now. And he's Aslan Nazarilev or Rilev. I won't try and say that one again. So is this a possible link with Aslan to the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe? And thinking back to the Lion Air crash, possibly. Who knows? But what I do know is this surname. This, when you put this into a Chaldean calculator, look what you get. 33 for masonry. And this was just reporting the temperature at the time was -12, so 12 reversing for 21 for 3 7s for 777. And visibility was 1,000 meters at 3,300 feet. So dropping a little bit of code in there for you. So this is what's known about the crash, and this was Flight Radar 24 information, which seems to be used a lot now for air crashes or alleged air crashes. And look what we've got here, departed 721. So there's a 7 and there's a 21 for 777, 3 7s. I think you've got a 7 and a 22 there, 22 being a master number as well. Okay, so there's a guy here in an orange hat. Orange is 33 in Pythagorean numerology. And he's got 62 for 2 6s for 66 on it. And he's the only one wearing a hat there with a number on. And it happens to be orange. Here's another hat with A78. That's 1 plus 7 plus 8 for a 16 for a 7. And this one here has got a number, 1186. Add that together and that comes to 16 again for another 7. And here we've got carefully placed people, just exposing the 73 for 3 7s for 7 7 there. And we've got this number plate here. 8 plus 13 is 21 for 777. And KP is 11 plus 16 for 27 for 77. So code on show there. Now let's take a look at this. Now there's this picture here of somebody allegedly saving a baby. Now look at this pristine white outfit, but look at his hand. The hand is going right into this. Doesn't look like there's anything in that other than a bit of stuffing. So this is looking fake, and let's take a look at a little video, and I'll slow it down, of this baby being carried away.
What many people will also be really amazed to see is the number of people who survived. We've seen a baby being helped from the plane. You yourself, of course, managing to get off that aircraft. Why do you think it seems to have been that people seem to have been able to survive the crash as well?
Okay, so you saw that. Don't think there was a baby there. I think that was fake. But let's have a look at this survivor stroke witness and some of his statements, because they seem a little strange.
Именно укачивать, прям какой-то вот кошмар внутри было. В это время я успел уже, я взять сотовый телефон в карман положил, туго затянул пояс свой, и самолет как-то вот чуть уклонился, вперед поехал. И уже было понятно, что сейчас уже об землю ударимся. Удар, конечно, грохот был сильный, и свет потух. И все уже все поняли, что я, как бы, кто жив, кто не жив. Там кто-то закричал справа выходить. Справа у меня был мужчина сидел. Скорее всего, наверное, он открыл. У меня, как справа была дверь, аварийная дверь.
Today, when we just took off from the ground, after several seconds, the plane started like a boat swaying. I mean, its wings started like swaying, and it was very unusual. Started fastening tighter my seatbelts because I thought it was something went wrong. And the plane itself at the same time started vibrating very badly. And as soon as it gets a little bit higher, the vibration and the sound of the engine, the soaring sound of the engine started getting louder. And then everyone started panicking because the plane was at the same time like shattering, vibrating and swaying at the same time. It was like very weird, actually, how to say, action. Then after maybe 15, 20 seconds, it started escalating. Then it got so bad that it started at some point going downwards. So at that time, I realized that we are 100% will hit the ground. And once we hit the ground, since I was sitting in the aisle side of the 15th row where I was sitting, I was staring to the front of the plane because the lights were on. And I was thinking how the force will come on us, so whether I will have a chance maybe somehow to escape it if I have to bend, down the seats. So once the plane hit the ground, the squeezing of the plane's ceiling started from the front, but it went that fast that it was like a tin can, like as if someone starts squeezing the tin can very fastly, and it came till the 14th row. I was sitting on the 15th row. It came to the 14th row, and I saw that there was a guy sitting on the 14th row, that all the ceiling came on him, like smashing on him with all its like power. But immediately the plane stopped at some point. So later we realized that we hit the two-story concrete building. And so we hit the ground first, then we hit the concrete building. I think the concrete building stopped the plane going further. But since we went halfway of the building, I think that from the second floor, all the concrete parts fell on the plane, so it I think worsened the crash. And all the people sitting, starting from the 14th and towards the first row, they all got injured very badly, and most of them died on the spot. So the row where I was sitting had an emergency exit on the right, and we were sitting right on the top of the wings. So the guy who was sitting next to me on the right side, so I think he opened the emergency exit because I didn't open the emergency exit. Once I was trying to stand up, it was already open. So we started escaping from the emergency exit on my right side. Once we escaped, the lights went off before we, after we just crashed. Then once we went out from the emergency exit, we stepped on the wings. But once we stepped on the wings, it was very slippery. I mean, maybe I think it's had some ice because immediately whoever stepped on the wing, they fell on the wings immediately because it was very slippery.
So some conflicting witness statements there, and also, I don't know, he didn't seem very traumatized, and he's the only one that has been interviewed. It's not looking good. Crash site looks weird, full of hex code, so it's looking like a hex. So all I'll say is that's the end, folks. It's a hex, and thanks for watching, thanks for listening, goodbye.